What's up, YouTube? C904, and I'm here with a Transformers movie recap. As far as I can remember, I haven't done any reviews of the other movies, so here we go. Well, let me start by saying that Hasbro, first and foremost, is a toy company, and anything they've done as far as movies, TV shows, cartoons, they are advertisements for their products. And any of these Transformers movies are not an exception to that, especially the '86 movie. Now the '86 movie, because it's a continuation of the cartoon, if you're not familiar with the cartoon and its characters, then you might be a little thrown off by everything that's going on. First thing they do when the movie starts, they pretty much wiped the slate clean, got rid of all the main characters, and brought in some new guys and second stringers, and said, here you go, these are the new heroes now. They did the same thing with the Decepticons. They got rid of a bunch of guys, brought some new guys in, and that's how it goes. You need to get rid of the old product to show off the new product. Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Now, I'm sure if they went back, they would probably do it differently. But, and people always hassle Hasbro about that decision, about killing Optimus Prime and Megatron, and people are blaming Rodimus for getting Optimus killed. If you want to blame anybody, blame the writers, blame the company responsible, because I'm sure from a writer's standpoint, Optimus had to die. At least Optimus died in battle and not from a shot in the shoulder. So I guess he went out in battle against his arch nemesis Megatron, and I guess to kind of turn the tide to make it seem like Optimus was going to win, but somebody had to be the fall man. It had to be somebody's fault. Optimus lost the fight, and there you go. But, if you're not familiar with Transformers, then, you might be lost, because there's a lot going on in that movie. It's following a lot of characters, they get scattered, and, and then they sort of like slowly bringing everybody back together, because some of them are on Earth, some are on Cybertron when the movie starts. So when all this craziness happens, they're all over. They're pretty much all over the place. But in the end, Transformer fanboyism, G1ism, all that put aside, the movie, for what it is, for what it was meant to be, I would give it a 3 out of 5, because it served its purpose. They got rid of the old product to bring in the new product. And if you weren't so emotionally attached to the characters they got rid of, then you would be able to enjoy the movie for what it was. The '07 movie. Now, I have a lot of fond memories leading up to the '07 movie, but that's a story for another day. Now, I'm going to be honest about this. The movie is called Transformers. And when I went to the theater and watched this movie, I got Sam and the Robots, or Sam and Friends, or Sam and Michaela. I didn't come to see them, I came to see Transformers, and that's not what we got. They spent half the movie following these humans around, and, if I wanted to see human characters running around, I'd watch 98% of the movies that are out. I can go to a video store, pick up a random movie, and 98% of the time there's going to be human characters running around the whole time. That's not what I came to see, but that's what we got. Now, the main Transformer in the movie, Bumblebee, spends half the movie in his car mode. Then, when he does transform, he can't talk. He's using freaking radio clips. The whole movie. Until the very end, where he says like 2 sentences. What was the point of him even having a voice actor? He might as well just use another voice clip. I would have been fine with that. You know, keep it consistent. He didn't talk the rest of the movie. Why talk now? You big jerk. This whole thing with Bumblebee, man, it's, you know, people have been complaining about a lot of other stuff with Skids and Mudflap and the whole Mirage and Wheeljack thing, the whole thing with Optimus dying, coming back, Jazz dying. My thing with the movies has been Bumblebee. I mean, he's the main Transformer and he can't talk. And he's like a pet. You're a robot, thousands of years old, and you're some little human boy's pet car. That's basically what he is. He's driving around, and he's acting like a big baby the whole time. He's whining and crying and stuff. Well, not so much in the '07 movie, more in the Revenge of the Fallen movie. But still, his character, I can understand people loving him, but for me, and especially with him having hundreds of figures on the shelf, when there are some characters never got a figure. What happened to that character? He didn't have a figure. But we got plenty of Bumblebees though, you know, all the Constructicons that didn't get figures, like Scrapper for one. We got plenty of Bumblebees though. I mean, there are plenty of characters and plenty of figures that we should have gotten, but we didn't get because the shelf is full of Bumblebees. Even now, they Reveal the Shield and Hunt for Decepticon figures that people haven't been able to find, but there are plenty of Bumblebees on the shelf. And this thing, I can understand. He needs his own store. Just give Bumblebee his own section over there, somewhere else, away from the other Transformers, so there'll be space for Warpath, Trax, and Wheeljack, so we can get the figure, so we can get these other figures and Grapple and Lugnut. I mean, there are plenty of Bumblebees though. You know, I can't find Leader Class Ironhide because Wave 2 hasn't really hit many stores, but these stores have plenty of Bumblebees. Why did Bumblebee get another Leader Class figure when he got all these Ultimate Class figures? It's the same figure. All they did was make it a little smaller and put Mech-Tech ports all over it. It's the same figure. That was a Leader Class figure, the Ultimate Bumblebee. And they did 2 or 3 of them. And now we get a Leader Class? That guy here has way too many figures. And in my Megatron versus Bumblebee stop motion, all the Bumblebee sympathists, as I call them, they're complaining about Bumblebee getting beat up by Megatron, and I see other videos where they're complaining, oh, Bumblebee's stronger than Starscream, Bumblebee's stronger than Megatron. He's a freaking car. If he was stronger than them, he wouldn't be lower ranking than Ironhide and Optimus. If he was the strongest, he'd be Bumblebee's Prime. You know, he'd be the one in charge, not some lowly scout that's running around with some little boy all day. But anyway, the '07 movie, which is what I'm supposed to be talking about. Oh man, it was a good movie if you aren't a Transformers fan. If you're a Transformers fan, you didn't get many Transformers. They didn't get a whole lot of screen time. And they couldn't even get the names right. You get Brawl, who's a Combaticon. He's rolling out of the motor pool, and it says Devastator. Really? That's not even the right combiner. I mean, how do you get that so ridiculously wrong? And then Barricade just mysteriously disappears. Bone Crusher and Brawl spent the entire movie sitting in a motor pool doing absolutely nothing. We don't see them until the Decepticons mobilize. But we got plenty of human screen time though. To me, that's wrong, and that's a disservice to the Transformers themselves, who the movie is supposed to be about. So in my opinion, the '07 movie should, honestly, for me, gets a 2 out of 5. Because you didn't get what you came to see, Transformers. You got a boy who likes a girl, who gets a car that gets a girl, whose car turns out to be a big whiny baby pet GoBot. That's what Bumblebee turns out to be in this movie. You know, he has his shining moments from time to time, but the rest of the time he's spent cowering behind Sam, and it's aggravating. Moving on, Revenge of the Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen. Now, a lot of people don't like this movie because it's kind of all over the place. You know, it's a lot going on in this movie, and but you got a whole lot of Transformers, so I can't argue on that point. But there were a few parts that seemed a little strange to me, particularly with Megatron when they revived him. You know, he just took off into space and went to the spaceship, crashed on a planet that we've never seen before. How long has it been there? Was he there in the last movie? Why didn't he just come to Earth in the first movie and claim the Allspark? The Fallen, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe him and the ship just got there. I don't know. But Megatron seemed to know exactly where they were, and he just flew straight there, which was weird to me. This whole Skids and Mudflap being racist thing, in my opinion, the only way robots in a movie can be considered racist, basically by the way they talk and the way they act. The only way they can be considered racist is if you apply a race to the way that they're talking and the way that they're acting. Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I don't talk like Skids and Mudflap. I know plenty of other people. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. I mean, they're basically saying Skids and Mudflap are racist against black people, but how can they be racist against black people unless you're saying Skids and Mudflap are somehow making fun of black people, which is a stereotype saying that all black people talk the way Skids and Mudflap do. I don't think I talk anything like the way Skids and Mudflap did. I mean, I know plenty of people that talk that way, but they're not all black. I think the people who are saying they're racist probably watch too much TV. Maybe they watch so much TV and actually got to know the people of this world, then you probably wouldn't consider Skids and Mudflap to be racist. There are people who talk like that, and if they didn't want to be made fun of, they shouldn't talk that way. And in that case, shouldn't Ratchet be racist? I mean, shouldn't Ironhide be racist? He's a country pickup truck. You know, he's got the gunslinger type attitude. Shouldn't that be considered racist then? You know, Megatron. If anything, to me, Megatron seems like a big angry black dude. You know, he's always mad at everybody. He's barking orders all the time. If anything, Megatron should be racist. I don't know. It's just people being stupid. That's what they do. I don't argue with them. I just laugh at them. Anyway, Revenge of the Fallen. That movie was just, to me, it was just crazy. It was all over the place. If I had to give it a score, I will honestly give Revenge of the Fallen a 3 out of 5, because we got a lot of what we came to see, Transformers, but we got less story, and there were a lot of just random Transformers all over the planet that didn't really have a name or introduction, and the Fallen just mysteriously shows up, and all the time he's been on the ship the whole time. To me that whole thing with the Fallen and Megatron coming back, it seems a little weird. I guess if you're alive, the Allspark kills you, but if you're dead, the Allspark can bring you back. I guess that's how it works. But in that case, Optimus should have just used the shard on Jazz, and the first movie been done with it. That way there would have been a shard for them to bring Megatron back. Although they used another shard that was stuck to Sam's jacket somehow. used that on Jetfire, but I don't think Jetfire was dead. I think he was in some kind of stasis. I don't know. They talked about this whole Seeker thing in Revenge of the Fallen. I guess we'll see if they talk about more of that in Dark of the Moon. I doubt it. I think Dark of the Moon is going to be completely separate from the first two movies. The only thing in common they'll have is similar characters. And you know, Revenge of the Fallen, you got to see a little bit of that Decepticon army thing you're going to see in Dark of the Moon. This is a little weird. Dark of the Moon and Revenge of the Fallen, they were mostly Constructicons, or they didn't have an alternate mode at all. In Dark of the Moon, I guess they're probably mostly. Well, I don't want to spoil. I don't want to sound like I know what I'm talking about, because I know how people can get about that. So I'll leave it alone. I guess we'll find out. Well, I know I'll find out later tonight. But that's my little review slash rant slash recap of the 86, 07, and Revenge of the Fallen Transformer films. And once all the buzz starts to die down and more people have seen Dark of the Moon, then I'll give my thoughts on that movie. It'll probably be a while before I do that, because I don't want to do it too soon and then there's still people who haven't seen it yet, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But they've been so secretive about the movie, you can't hear anything about the characters, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Although a certain two people spoiled part of the movie for me at BotCon. I won't call no names, but they know who they are. But it's cool. I ain't gonna sweat it. But yeah, man, go see the movie tonight, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. And one other thing that I forgot to mention in the recording that's part of my final score for Revenge of the Fallen was that when Optimus died and the Autobots regrouped, there was no mourning for their lost leader. Bumblebee is still hanging out with Sam. There's no mourning. Skids and Mudflap, they're out there hanging out too. Sideswipe, Jolt, who mysteriously just shows up at the military base out of nowhere. There's no mourning on their behalf. You know, maybe the reason Jolt just showed up at the military base was because maybe he was supposed to be with Optimus. Maybe it's Jolt's fault that Optimus died in Revenge of the Fallen. So now, all you guys who hate Rodimus because of what he did in the 86 movie, now you can hate Jolt. Maybe it was his fault. But Ironhide and Ratchet, there was a little bit, you could tell they were down about what happened, but now that they're in charge, because now that Optimus is gone, I can understand them being more focused on their next move and what to do next, especially with the Decepticons gaining in strength and momentum. I can understand Ironhide and Ratchet being more concerned with what to do right now. But for the rest of them, no mourning for their leader whose side they fought at for who knows how long. But that's all I wanted to add.
Burn, Autobots! Burn!